Step 6 in the home selling process is renegotiation. Now, every single transaction is different, and while renegotiation is only if necessary, I will tell you that the majority of the time, certainly greater than 90% of the time, there's some opportunity for renegotiation back and forth between buyers and sellers. If you remember, California is a as-is sale subject to interior inspection state. What this means is that the buyers have the ability to conduct investigations, do their due diligence, and if or when concerns, issues, or new information comes up, they have the option to submit what's called a request for repair form. Now, I want to be clear. We do not, or you don't have to contractually agree to anything with the request for repair form. It's all part of a negotiation. If the buyers submit a request for repair form, they're going to ask for one of three things. The first is going to be repairs to be done. This is where they have a list of one or several items that the buyers want corrected or repaired prior to the close of escrow. The second thing they could ask for would be credits in lieu of those repairs. They're asking for a dollar amount. Typically, it's applied towards their closing costs, and this would involve you not doing the repairs. The third thing they could ask for would be a price adjustment. Instead of that credit or the dollar amount that's agreed upon being applied to credits or closing costs, it would be applied as a price reduction to the overall purchase price. Typically, we recommend that you offer credits or a price adjustment because the repairs gets a little bit sticky. Oftentimes, it's unclear whether the repairs are done to the exact specifications of what the buyer wanted, and it can just get a little bit trickier if it isn't very, very cut and dry. So, generally speaking, we would recommend that you offer credits, not do the repairs. Whether it's credits or repairs or some combination of the two, remember, this is all up for negotiation and you don't have to agree to anything. In fact, it's not uncommon for the buyer and the seller to disagree on all of this, which is part of the reason that you have a real estate agent representing you and being an intermediary. The goal here is that we represent you, that you're pleased with the outcome, and ideally, if we've done our job right, we've achieved a real win-win. Another item that may be a point of renegotiation would be the appraisal. If you remember from the video before, we talked about if the property appraises lower than the purchase price, there's an opportunity for renegotiation in one of three ways. That could be reducing the purchase price, the buyer increasing the amount of money they bring to the closing table, or some combination of the two. Typically, we wait to do any heavy negotiation regarding the physical or investigations and the appraisal until you've done both. This way, we're not renegotiating only on the physical contingency part, then having to deal with the appraisal. Ideally, we're negotiating everything together because once we come to an agreement, we want to be able to confidently move towards closing. There are a few things that I'd like you to remember when we're talking about renegotiation, and ideally to keep at the forefront of your mind as you're making decisions. The first one is that no two transactions are the same, and in fact, there's no standard or de facto way that we handle renegotiation or request for repair. Each situation is different, and so we have to make the best decision based on the information that we have. The other thing is that, look, you don't have to like it, and in fact, you don't even have to agree with what the buyers are asking for. At the end of the day, it's not about what we like or we agree to, it's about are we committed to the final outcome in closing successfully. And part of the reason that we get hung up is frankly because people their ego gets too involved. I cannot tell you how many transactions go sideways at this point because at the beginning, people were negotiating in $25,000, $50,000, $100,000 increments with no problem at all, and yet somehow everything comes to a screeching halt over a very small repair, a very minor item, and it's really just because ego gets involved. What I would encourage you to do is please lean on us, lean on your team, because we are not only skilled negotiators who are going to fight for the best possible outcome for you, but we're going to give you our advice about what we've seen in similar situations having closed hundreds of homes. No matter how you cut it, renegotiation is probably going to be some part of your transaction. The good news is we're here to support you every step of the way. Step 6 in the home selling process is renegotiation.